One of the great stories of the gospel is told where Jesus is walking from one town to another after doing ministry or teaching, healing, all the things that Jesus did. And the Bible tells us that he walked up to a well and he ran into a Samaritan woman, someone who not only was of a different gender than him, but of a different kind of ethnicity than him, probably even spoke a different first language. She wasn't someone that he would normally have talked with, and he was not someone that she would have normally felt comfortable talking with. But the Bible tells us that he walked up to her at this well, and he asked her for a drink of water. And she basically got into conversation with him about water and wells and all of these things. And Jesus kind of made the connection with her between kind of the physical water that she was drawing and the type of eternal, spiritual, internal, life-giving water that he was given. And in that famous passage where I will give you a living water that will spring from within and all of that sort of thing. And out of that conversation, a very deep spiritual conversation takes place between her and Jesus about who she is and the values they share or don't share in terms of their understanding of religious things and all of that. And Jesus uses that as an opportunity then to kind of peel back the layers of all the external conversation and gets to the heart of the matter about who she is and her background and where she comes from. And it changes her life. And the Bible tells us that she left from that place and she wound up in conversation with a bunch of other people who didn't really understand who she was or what life was all about. And they questioned Jesus and didn't know who he was. And at the end of that conversation, she says to them, look, I can tell you all about him and I can show you by my own life about him. I can say things that tell you who he is or what he's done for me. But at the end of the day, you just need to come and see for yourself. You need to come and see for yourself. And out of that conversation is this really cool principle that you and I, through the words we speak and through the life we live, through our own personal example, through the things we do, through the things maybe we don't do, but through our own testimony, we are called every single day to be invitational. To basically say to our world, to our coworkers and to our family members, to our neighbors, look, you need to come and see who Jesus is. In Psalm chapter 34, one of these really great passages is given. It's just one little line that says, taste and see that the Lord is good. You and I, by our lives, by the words we speak, by our own personal testimony, meaning being able to share our faith, of course, but maybe even more importantly, being able to share our faith, actually living out our faith. We are to kind of live lives that say to our world, taste and see that the Lord is good. Let our neighbors and coworkers see from our lives that God really is good. And that through our lives be invitational so that we are saying to them, you need to taste and see that the Lord is good. Come and see a man that told me everything about me, is basically what that lady said. Throughout this series, we're using the phrase ready, set. And of course, if you're like me, you want to end that by saying ready, set, go. And that's appropriate, and there will be places here that we will talk about that absolutely as part of our series. But ready, set, at least as it relates to this week, is the whole idea of ready, set, invite. And when we talk about invite, we mean let your life be an invitational type of life. That the words you say at work and in your neighborhood and to your family members and the life you live is an invitational one. So that when people hear you and they talk with you and they get to know you and they have a relationship with you, that your life is not repelling to them. Your Christianity is not repulsive to them, but your Christianity is actually attractional to them. We've been talking for several years now here at our church, and in this series we'll talk about this again, of course, about the idea of being missional, being a congregation that doesn't just come and sit, but actually allows ourselves to be filled full, but that we are then sent. We are then asked to go into our world and to share and to live out our faith every single day at our jobs and in our schools and in our neighborhoods and in the life we live with our family. You know, we are called to go into our neighborhood and to to share Jesus through acts of service and compassion and kindness. We want to be good neighbors, and we want to tell people that by the lives we live, that this God we serve really is a God they need to serve. That through what we do and say, that we are offering an attractional relationship with Jesus. See, we are part of a good church, and we are called as a church to get up and to go, of course. But we also have church, and we have worship, and we have programming that's related to children and teens and adults, and we have small groups, and we have great events that we do all throughout the year, and we live life together as a community of faith, and we love being a part of this family together. And the rest of the world that is broken and lost and doesn't understand real relationship desperately needs the type of family and life and health and hope that we get to share together as members of the body of Christ. I pray that throughout this series that you will feel Christ compelling you to go into our world and through your words and through your deeds, speak and live out an invitational life that tells your friends and neighbors to come and see and to taste and see that the Lord is good. When the woman asked the question in that story, or when she said, I met a man who told me everything about me, her next words were, could this man be the Messiah? And she asked it in the form of a question, of course. And the way she says it, she's not saying to these people who are watching, he is the Messiah, or, I'm saying this expecting a yes answer out of you. But she does ask the question in such a way that she's saying, I can't say no. Could this man be the Messiah? I'm not telling you got to say yes, but I can't say no. Because I've met him, and he's talked to me, and he's changed my life, and no matter who else others might say he is or what others might think about him, something's changed about me, and all I can do is say, come and see. Come and see. And I pray that as we live life together throughout this series, and we learn about a lot of ready, set, whatevers, and we'll give you a lot of the particulars on that as we go forward, that you'll have buried deep down in your heart a sense that you were called into this world to invite people into our church, invite people into a relationship with Jesus, to be invitational in your faith by the things you say, the things you do, by the life you live in this world. And as we do that, may God fill us with passion and purpose and a sense of joy that we are living out an attractional faith in a world that's so broken, into a bunch of people who don't understand what it means to be in a whole relationship with God. May they see that in us, and may we live it out before them. God bless you as you talk about this in your small group this week.